Hi everyone, this is Lara Hammock from the Marble Jar channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about the conversation that you need to have with your teenage son about porn. I know, you don't want to have this conversation, but honestly, you need to. Our kids are being exposed to stuff that we've never even seen, and at a really early age. And don't even tell me that your kid has never seen anything. I will give myself a cramp rolling my eyes so hard. Every kid now has a tiny computer in their hands, and even if you've put content filters on your kid's phone, and if you haven't, I have a bunch of videos on this very topic. I guarantee you his friends have access to everything that's out there, and that is a lot. So if this is your son's introduction to sex, he's gonna need a little bit of help in interpreting what he is seeing. Okay, I'm not asking you to break down all of the sexual positions in a porno for him, but you do need to give your teenage boy a basic understanding of what porn is, what it's for, and how it differs from real life. We owe it to our boys to help them understand what they're seeing. So when my son was 13, I told him that I needed to have an awkward conversation with him. He knows that I'm the one who does the sex talks in our house, so he was understandably uneasy. My husband sat in as well, but he didn't say much by his choice. And we chose a time that my daughter was totally out of the house. So you're gonna have to judge for yourself the level of discomfort your son can handle. Unless you have a really unusual kid, this is gonna be an uncomfortable conversation for him. I would say that you have no more than 10 minutes tops. My son, at about that point, probably even less time, stood up, put his hands on the table and said, "And I'm done." And he walked out. Fortunately, by that point, I had made most of the points that I needed to, but that's why you need to plan what you're gonna say ahead of time. Here's how I think it should go and the points that I think you should make. First, fake assessment. Do not ask your son if he has seen porn, because he will lie to you, unless you've already caught him, that is. Ask your son on a scale from a little to a lot how much porn he has seen. He will say a little regardless of the actual answer. And your response should be, "Great, then this is the perfect time to have this conversation." New to his generation. Tell him that porn wasn't always easy to access. In fact, when we were growing up, guys might find a girly magazine under their dad's mattress, but almost no one had seen an actual video of people having sex. The way we learned about sex was by figuring it out for the first time and fumbling our way through it, generally with someone else who had no idea what they were doing either. Not real. Porn isn't real. It's a staged performance by a bunch of actors who are paid to look like they're having a good time. So sometimes they are having a good time, but many times they are just performing to make a living. Number 4, why? The point of porn is specifically to make men aroused. It is not geared towards women, with a very few exceptions. But there's something about arousal where it does require more and more stimulation each time to get to the same level of arousal. So what does the porn industry do? Instead of making videos of people having normal sex in normal relationships, they have to make stranger and more extreme sexual situations. So that brings us to violent or extreme. So the videos get more violent and farther away from what a normal sex life looks like. Something like 90% of porn involves one woman with 3 or more men, and there's often violence towards the women, including frequent choking. So none of that is even close to normal. So what about the women? So let me answer that question for you. They are really not enjoying it, particularly the violent and degrading stuff. They are performing for a paycheck. Real girls do not want you to treat them like that. They don't. They don't want to be hurt. What do they want? Communication, consent, and caring. Okay, your son is gonna roll his eyes to the very back of his head when you start in on this, but there needs to be some counterpoint to what our culture is promoting. No one expects you to know what you're doing right away. Ask the girl if it's okay. Don't force, do not try to convince, just go with what she says. If she seems unsure, back the hell off. care about her, and things will go well. And of course, if your son leans the other direction, all of these things apply as well. Just switch around genders. So that's it. If you get to the end, your son will have done better than mine. I was a little less organized when I had this talk, and let's face it, I take every opportunity to have follow-up conversations to the extreme consternation of my children, but these were the points that I needed to make. So halfway through, I asked him if this was all stuff that he knew already, and he looked kind of startled and said, I haven't heard any of this stuff before. Somehow, we all think that our kids are basically walking around with the same stuff that's in our heads, despite the fact that we've never had a conversation like this with them. And they are growing up in a really different world. So our sons need just as much help as our daughters in navigating some of this rough terrain, and it's up to us to make sure that they have good information. That's it. Let me know how you make out. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.